You read the title. Is this the best way to implement video game music? Yes, in my opinion, it is. But what method am I talking about? Well, it's adaptive music. Adaptive music is music that reacts to what happens on screen, like for example, adding instruments when there's a battle or change depending on location. This concept isn't a new one though, since it dates back all the way to the 1980s. One of the first games that used adaptive music was Monkey Island 2, but back then you couldn't download software to make adaptive music work. So LucasArts said, alright fine, we'll make one. And so they did! It was called iMuse, and it was the first software that could do this kind of stuff. I think Monkey Island's implementation works like this. It starts as version A, then a small drum fill happens, and it masks the transition to version B. And this is how that sounds in-game. Another early example of adaptive music is Banjo-Kazooie. The game has one song per area, each with 60 instruments. But during gameplay, it only plays around 5 of those instruments at a time. And the game has specific triggers to disable or enable certain instruments, making the different versions transition perfectly into each other. As an example, when you go into the area close to the level Mumbo's Mountain, it switches to a different version. Or when you go into the water, it turns into a water version. A more modern example of adaptive music is Celeste. Let's take the level Celestial Resort as an example. The level has 2 parts, the exploration and the cleanup. First, the exploration. It uses 3 parameters to change the music: progression, bass, and theremin. The progression parameter determines what instruments are added. The parameter adds the bass when you enter the hotel. Drums when you open the first key door. And the theremin when you open the second key door. After you explore, you get to the next part, where you have to clean up the hotel, and every time you clean a part, the song gets more complex. When you clean up the first part, a synth arpeggio gets added, after the second part, a lead synth and a kick get added. The third part adds a snare. And the final part adds a breakbeat. Celeste's music is incredibly well made, and Raine definitely knows what she's doing to be able to wrap her head around all that while composing. But it doesn't have to be that complicated to work. The Balatro OST, for example, is basically a 120-minute song split up into 5 different parts. And since they're all in the same time signature and BPM, the game can just fade between the songs whenever needed. Like this. I really like how Balatro does this, and it does this really well. Even though this isn't really adaptive music, I still think it's a really cool thing in games when the music reacts to the time of day, such as Animal Crossing, which uses real-life time and weather to determine the time and weather in-game. And the game has songs for all 24 hours of the day, and also a rainy day version and a snow day version. Like when it's 12 PM, it feels nice and happy. And when it's 7 AM, it has this feeling of, wake up, there's work to do. But when it's 3 AM, the game is saying, it's 3 AM, why in the actual fuck are you still playing Animal Crossing? The game subtly communicates to the player what they should be doing by playing music that fits that. And I think that's really cool. But have you ever played The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild? If you have, you know that the music is mostly pretty ambient, except for when you're on a horse. Because then, you get piano. It really gives that vibe of everyone is dead except a pianist that really likes horses. This piano is adaptive to what time it is in-game. This is what it sounds like in the daytime. And this is what it sounds like in the nighttime. And it's not just the horse piano, the village themes also have day and night versions. But I think one of the coolest examples of adaptive music is Tetris Effect. Let's take the level The Deep as an example. The level starts with a very ambient track, but every time you press a button or clear a line, a note gets played in key. After you clear 1/3 of the level, the song expands to include vocals and drums with reverb. And after you clear 2/3 of the level, the vocals get new lyrics. All this for Tetris. Still, I think it fits the gameplay of Tetris Effect really well, and the way it's implemented is nothing short of masterful. But at the end of the day, it takes a lot of time and effort to implement adaptive music, and it's definitely not required for a good game. But I think it's really cool when developers take that extra bit of effort and implement adaptive music, because it really shows they care about their game and they want to make it the best they possibly can. And I think more people should appreciate that. Thanks for watching. I'm 40 subscribers away from 1,000 subs right now, so if you like this video, please consider subscribing. If you have any correction or anything that I missed, please post it in the comments. I read as many comments as I can. I had to record around 8 hours of footage for this video, and I went on vacation, so that's why this video took a little bit longer than the other ones. But this video was still really fun to make. I know it's a little different from my usual videos, but I think next video will be about music theory and that type of stuff again, so yeah. Bye.